Alrighty, here's an article from my lefty browser that I have for some reason. Ukrainian Americans weigh in on upcoming Trump vs. Harris election. Alrighty, let's get into it. If Democratic candidate Kamala Harris's campaign promises to continue supporting Ukraine in its fight against Russia, would make her the obvious choice for Ukrainian Americans in the 2024 presidential election. Voters in the diaspora are anything but united in their choice for president. There's that word again, diaspora. People from one land that are displaced into another, I guess. Now, Ukrainian Americans, if they're Ukrainian and they support Ukraine, why don't they go back to Ukraine and fight? If you're American, support America. If there is any president who would be able to get Putin to negotiate a deal that Putin would agree with, because then he can go back to his people and say he's a winner, but leave most of Ukraine intact. I think it's Trump, a Ukrainian American, Dennis Goldenberg, told the Kyiv Independent. Yeah, if Putin respects strength, then yeah, he'll be more willing to negotiate with Trump. Biden, Harris, not really. As voters head to the polls in a presidential election that is predicted to be decided on razor-thin margins. You know, it's funny how all the elections are razor-thin. Kinda odd, but anyway. Many voting Ukrainian Americans will be doing so with the war in their mind. Well, why should it be? If you're American, be American. You can't be both. But with competing visions of which president could better serve Ukraine. The U.S. president is supposed to serve the U.S., not Ukraine. But of course, the globalists would disagree with me on that. Ukrainians in the U.S. who can't vote are watching the election with the hopes that their would-be pick for president will be the one to bring peace to the nation at war. Well, there is only one person for peace. Trump said that he wants to stop the war. As far as I know, Biden, Harris, they're all for continuing it, so a million dead Ukrainians later? I think that's what the death toll's at. Pennsylvania, a critical swing state with 19 electoral college votes that are likely to provide a path to victory for either presidential candidate. Philadelphia area is home to one of America's largest Ukrainian communities. Eugene Lusiu, president of the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America's Philadelphia branch, says that as a resident of the area, he knows Ukrainian Americans across the political spectrum. He says it's not surprising that many Ukrainians will vote for Trump, but emotionally, it's a bit surprising. As a registered Republican, he's familiar with the argument Ukrainian Americans make for Trump, that Russia illegally annexed Crimea while the U.S. was under a Democratic administration. Yeah, and then when Trump came into office, all was quiet. And then Biden pops up, and what happens? Oh, Russia attacks Ukraine again. Huh, what a shocker. The left says Putin's a bully. What do bullies do? They pick on people who are weaker than them. So Putin looked at Biden and saw weakness. They even say it in the article. They see a pattern of weakness with Democrats, a pattern of strength with Republicans, and I think that translates into hope and belief with Trump. Yeah. I believe Trump when he says he is going to try and resolve the war in one day. And the fact that he will resolve it in one day, the only way you're going to do that is to force Ukraine to give up its current territory. Yeah, because there's no way Ukraine can win. Well, there is a way, but the Americans are going to have to do all the heavy lifting, so to speak. Ellis Dimke has spent the last few months selling Ukraine to Americans. The Ukrainian Canadian from Kyiv has worked in Kyiv and New York for a venture capital startup investing in Ukrainian technology. She wishes she had the citizenship to vote and the time to canvass for Harris. Knowing some Americans won't vote at all is as infuriating as knowing those who will vote for Trump, Dimke says. Once Russia's full-scale invasion began in early 2022, Dimke's once moral opposition to Trump grew to include foreign policy concerns as she began to see through her venture capital work how American Democrats as a party tended to back Ukraine more than the Republicans. There were quite a few Republicans who wanted to aid Ukraine, the Rhinos, the Warhawks, etc., and she says she's mad that she knows there's people that are going to be voting for Trump. Well, Ukraine's not part of the U.S. The president is supposed to take care of the people of the U.S., not some other country on the other side of the world. In terms of Trump versus Harris on Ukraine, I think neither one guarantees anything, but Trump's actions is worse than Harris's potential inaction, Dimke says. While Harris might not be able to convince Congress to pass aid, at least she'll be open to the idea of a Ukrainian victory. Again, like I said earlier, there's no way Ukraine can win. Trump had two opportunities to express interest in Ukrainian victory during the presidential debate and did not. He wants to put America first. Again, Ukraine isn't his concern. And didn't he say he wants to try to end the war? Dimke understands the thinking of many who arrived in America after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. The equation of the Democrat Party to communism, accurate. The appeal of capitalism, capitalism means wealth, something they didn't have during the Soviet Union. The province of the American dream and upward mobility that Trump sells to his base are elements, Dimke says. Trump will ride on the victory of wiping Americans' hands of the Ukraine war. That's enough for him. So it'll be a rapid ceasefire and no extension into NATO. The future of my country is in this election. Well, which country is that? Are you Canadian? Are you American? Are you Ukrainian? Pick one. See, this is the reason I made this video. A lot of these people, they say they're American Ukrainians or Ukrainian Americans or Canadian Ukrainians. If you're a Ukrainian and you care so much about Ukraine, go back there. If you're an American, worry about your infrastructure. Worry about your southern border. Worry about the what? $35 trillion of debt? Anyway, take care out there in clown world.